Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Man United Agenda. And yes, better late than never. Hope you're liking the content. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Man United Agenda. And as always, it is Wednesday night, and we are joined by a fabulous panels tonight. And first of all, hello, Bath Time. How are we doing, sir?
I'm good, thanks, Solo. Hello to everyone watching. Looking forward to hearing all your opinions tonight. Let's get cracking.
Monday, how you doing? You all right?
Yeah, having a great day so far. And this is the peak of the day for me, 8:30, Man United Agenda. Let's go.
Well, you say peak, but we're about 6 minutes late, so we've gone past the 1:30 mark. But guys, we apologise for being late.
Your fault.
My fault. Yes, I've been so busy at work today that everything's gone a bit tits up. £5 in the jar for me. But guys, yeah, that's it. It's going to bath time for a few special drinks. But guys,
we can get bath time a new screen. New picture. It's kind of gothy, isn't it? And He's got the devil signs.
It's good.
Yeah, that's it. I'm on there head to head with him, isn't it? That's it. You're on bath time.
He's my buddy. Yeah, I love him.
Yeah. But guys, if you're watching for the first time, please like, share, and subscribe. And before we go anywhere, let's go through some of these comments because there is a few comments there. So bath time, I believe tonight, is in charge of the comments.
Well, big up from TalkMU. Just sort of like channel propaganda. Please subscribe if you're new. Give us a like. All right, here's SHAH, one of our panelists. How would Ronaldo fit into Ten Hag's plans? He has shown his all-round gameplay and set the standard for what it means to be a professional player. Even when things are going bad, he gives 110% regardless. And Matthew Bassett, shout out to him, has said evening to everyone. Bill Baggio is once again saying hello to everyone. Pat Lawless, a big favourite of mine, is saying hello. Mr. B, another favourite, is saying that we got to get a move on. Alejandro Trosh, big up, got his notifications on. Mr. B.
Puerto Rico.
Paddy, how you doing, mate? And UK Strains, bigging everyone up. Big yourself up, UK Strains.
Big up. Guys, so as we said, we're going to go through a few topics today, but before we do it, there's some quotation from Ralph Rangnick. Amanda is going to, bath time, I think, is going to go through them, actually.
Okay.
I think bath time is in charge of the comments tonight, Amanda. How are you doing, sir? You're in the back seat today.
Taking my job. Yeah. He's taking my job. I'm getting my eyes are going. So Thank you, bath time. We've had our intro. So let's go. This is what the show's all about.
Okay, so Ralph Rangnick has warned Manchester United that they need two modern strikers in order to ease the goal-scoring pressure on Ronaldo. The Portuguese forward has found the net 24 times in all competitions this season, following his return from Juve, while Bruno is the only other player in the squad to reach double figures. Rashford and Sancho have scored 5 goals each, while the team's third highest scorer, Mason Greenwood with 6, has been suspended from club activities since January. An outgoing interim boss, Rangnick, has said that United need more versatile forwards to help contribute with goals and assists, pointing to City and Liverpool's riches in attack as an example to follow. Okay, and he elaborates by saying Ronaldo isn't a central striker or does not want to play in that position. It's obvious that the club needs at least 2 new strikers who give this team more quality and more options. I wouldn't even call it wingers. 2 strikers are modern strikers that do not necessarily have to be wingers. If you look into international football, there aren't many top teams who still play with 2 strikers. Most play with either 3 or a false 9. Rangnick added, if you look at Liverpool and Manchester City, they have in their squad 5 or 6 top-class strikers. Gabriel Jesus, until 4 weeks ago, hardly played for City. Now he's playing again regularly. You look at the number of players they have, and if you ask me, is he playing as a central striker or winger? Is Jack Grealish a winger or striker? They're all strikers and can play in different positions. They can also switch, they can rotate. These kind of players, we don't have that many.
Yes, guys, that's Ralph's quote. So let's kickstart with it on Monday. Going into those, do you actually believe what Rangnick's saying? Because I've heard stories today. It's almost like he's trying to cover his back for what poor season we've had.
No, I disagree. He's not covering his back. I heard that argument too, and I slapped it down straight away. I couldn't have that. I think it's clear what's going on, in my opinion. Anyway, I think that Ralph is organising the club. He's setting it up for someone new to come in. That would be Eric. And he's giving a dossier report about what is required. You know, Eric's not going to turn up on the first day of training and say, well, what's going on here? He's going to have all this information now. Obviously, he's manager of Ajax. He can't be seen in public to be going out there and asking questions, but I'm sure phone calls are made. There's communication, Zoom calls or whatever they do these days, you know, and I'm sure he knows all about it. That's been said by a lot of credible people, Dutch ex-players as well, have sort of hinted at that as well. So I'm sure Eric knows exactly what the club needs. And as soon as the season finishes, he will get to work. Well, even before that, I think they're getting to work. And it's just that Ralph is just a spokesman. He's giving little clues here about what is required. And I do think this quote, his statement today is really on the money. I'm a big endorser of Ralph. I think only in years to come, we realise of the good job that he's actually done. People say, oh, we haven't done well on the pitch. But identifying players like this and talking, what he's saying there is so true about these top sides. So if we want to close the gap, well, that's the goal for us. We need to sort of have a championship winning side again. We have to look back and say, like in 99, we had 4 or 5 strikers all getting double figures. In 2008, we had the same, you know. And if you look at Liverpool and Man City now, I've got all their numbers here. It's amazing. There's 4 or 5, like you said, forward strikers, whatever you call them these days, who are banging in the goals. And we've only got maybe 1 at the moment when you look at our numbers. So, yeah, I think the quote is on the money.
And then bath time.
Yeah, well, unsurprisingly, I'm going to disagree with Amondo over this. This is what the people come for, though. I think that these quotes are utter nonsense. And, like, the first thing, right, is I find it quite laughable that the second Ralph gets appointed as the Austrian national manager, he starts going, well, you know, look at what goes on in international football. Like, who cares? It's got nothing to do with the Premier League. Secondly, he talks about, is Grealish a winger or a striker? What does a winger do? A winger provides width. Does Grealish provide width? Yes, he does. He's a winger. You can see that the other week, I think it was Thiago and Salah, like, had a sort of post-match interview, and Salah was incredibly clear that he was not a striker, he was a winger. Like these, like whenever Ralph talks about football, it always worries me because he appears to be like an alien who's never encountered it before with what he says. In terms of do we need more versatility from forward players? Yes, I would agree that we do need more versatility. But I'm not happy with Ralph with these quotes because this is the sort of thing that he should have been saying when he came into the club, not when he's leaving the club. But I am delighted to see the back of him. So that would be my piece on it, and I'm sure Monday's got something to say.
I think you do an assessment once you've had time to judge, and I think he came in December. So I think to release this information now shows that he's actually been diligent with his work and assessed the whole club and inside out. He's other jobs to do apart from managing, as we know. He's sorting out the who was the guy who left today? Excuse me. There was a guy, the director of
Judge
operations. Yeah, he's left today. So a lot is happening right now, and I think it's all down to Ralph. And like I say, yeah, I think you can't come in day one and make an assessment. He's given time. He's made an assessment over 6-7 months, however long it's been, and he's given a report to the public now as well. And as fans as well, we want that transparency. We want to know directly from the horse's mouth what's going on. And I think it's fantastic that we work on speculation. We get all these news reports, everything else, and gossip, and we don't really know what's what, you know. But at least now it's coming out of the horse's mouth, and we say, well, at least Ralph is being direct and honest. He's not a liar. Sorry. He's not a liar. He's coming direct and honest, and he's telling us the truth about what we need. And then when we really look at this and go into detail, It's really interesting. I think it causes a good discussion here about what is. You talk about Grealish. I mean, to me, Grealish maybe in the 4-4-2 days. Where would he play? I don't know. The football's changed so much. So there's a lot of players these days that from the old days, when I say old days, say pre-Premiership or something, when they used to play different systems, how would they fit into today's modern style? You know, it's really interesting that because he's saying strikers. For me, a striker's a number 9. That's coming from my generation. It's a number 9 strictly. But then you've got Jota, who could be a striker, but he plays wide sometimes, and all these guys are getting goals. Diaz has been there since January. He's already got 5 goals and assists and that kind of thing. So it'd be interesting to discuss what he means by a modern day striker, forward, winger, false 9, because they're all scoring.
I think though, with it, all the modern day, and I know what you're talking about. Sort of like you look at Dwight York, you look at players like Andy Cole, look at players like Alan Shearer. These are players now that doesn't really exist anymore, is it? The modern day footballer, basically, you should be able to utilize and play any position. So for me, like when I look at certain players at Manchester United, fair enough, they're not strikers, but they can be a utility player. The likes of, people might not agree with me, but the likes of, say, for instance, let's go and see now. Let's take Lingard, for instance. I think Lingard could play in that system, but the difference between sort of when you look at the levels of, say, for instance, that you're talking about Man City, Liverpool, and also look at the level of Man United throughout the years, basically a lot of our players I look at are lazy. That's the borderline bottom line with what they do. They're very lazy. It's almost they don't want to give it their all. So because they don't want to give it their all, it's any excuses not to play in a certain system. Quote from Paul Pogba, I'm not being utilized correctly for Manchester United. That's an excuse. Other players, I don't know what position or what I'm meant to be doing at Man United. You're a footballer. Technically speaking, you could sit there. 11-a-side football is different from professional football, but you can give any of us a job, even to go back and playing goal if you want us to play in goal. We'll make sure we do our best and playing goal. But it's about sort of being consistent and understanding the role of what you need to do. Again, bath time, you said about Rangnick. When he first came in, I remember watching a game with Marcus Rashford, and he's trying to instruct Marcus Rashford when he was playing this crazy 4-2-2-2 formation. And Rashford didn't understand it. And that was almost, 2 months or so into it. Rashford didn't get it. He just didn't understand what he was doing. So it's the modern day player, or should I say the modern day Man United player, just don't understand football. That's the way I look at it. Because Ralph's come in, disagree with you there, Bath. I don't think he's been unsuccessful. I think he's weed out the bad players at Man United, the arrogance and ignorant people at Manchester United players, and also from top to bottom at the moment.
All right, there's a couple of things to come in on here. First, I'm going to go back to Amonde's point about what the Ralph quotes are about. Ralph isn't really giving an assessment of our players. What he's saying is that like we've got to change how we view the sort of position and the roles of footballers. This to me is unacceptable from a manager to not understand like how football is played. Secondly, Solo, when you talk about things like, let's go to the one about Paul Pogba saying he's being underutilized. I know at the moment it's very in vogue to just trash on the players, call them lazy, call them arrogant, all this kind of stuff. One of the responsibilities of any manager, like whether it's in your workplace or at a club or whatever, is to make people feel motivated and part of the project. That is how you get the most success, is where you build relations and you get people working as a team. If Paul Pogba doesn't feel valued or he doesn't feel that he's being utilised, this is something that we've all dealt with in our personal and our professional lives, and it's something that we can relate to. And once again, I think that that's it's a managerial problem, but to be fair, we've only really seen Deschamps and Solskjaer and Conte get like Pogba happy. Mourinho, he was like literally celebrating on social media, and with Ralph, I think that Pogba gave Ralph a go. And then just didn't really like it. But then when you talk about like how Ralph has come in and rooted out the lazy players, the arrogant players, you have to remember that this crop of players have consistently qualified for the Champions League, and last season finished above Klopp, who's now in another Champions League final and on for the quad, as painful as that is. I don't think that Ralph has motivated them, and I'm not completely sure it's Marcus Rashford's fault that he doesn't understand the system. I feel that's poor preparation from amateur coaches and a manager that has today sort of shown to me that he doesn't really understand modern football. And why would he? He's not a football manager. He's a more an office manager. He's like a He's a director. He is. He was managing an office in Russia. Like he's a sporting director. He's not a manager.
No.
OMONDI, he's coached for 2 years out of the last 10. Very sort of teams that I think probably would be in the championship. And it shows because he doesn't understand top level football, and there's very few who do. But I don't think he's the right man for us. And I don't think that these quotes should fill anyone with any sort of confidence. So come back at me, lads. Why am I an idiot?
I disagree thoroughly. Look, when I was 5 years old, I learned to ride a bike without stabilizers. And since then, I can always revert back to riding a bike without stabilizers. It's just natural to me. He knows football at a high level, elite level. And he's more qualified, I think, than any of us on this show to know what football's about. He can give a cinema about what football's about. You've seen his presentations. So I think he's got a style. Are you going to say that Johan Cruyff didn't know about football when he can give a presentation and he was out of job for a period of time? Are you going to say that about Louis van Gaal, that they don't know about football? These guys it's like black belt and white belt we're dealing with here. And I think Ralph is a black belt about managing, not an office, but a club, a football club. And that's why he was appointed, because he needs to, our football club needed managing, not the first team, not a manager, a coach or whatever. So we needed to manage the whole thing. And that was a great decision by Manchester United Football Club to bring in a guy who's experienced at that. And I know you might say, well, he hasn't coached he's only coached 2 years out of 10 or something like that. And that is true. That's a fact. I can't deny that. But I don't think that sort of diminishes what his achievements, what he's done in the past, and he knows football inside out. He knows how to run a club. I think we all agree that that's what he's bought in for, to set up clubs and get clubs better improved. That's why the whole RB project, that's why they brought him in, and they've been really successful with him at the helm, So I disagree with that point, but I do accept that maybe he hasn't been a great coach. The issue where you're saying about Manchester United, since he's been there, about the coaching of the club and maybe getting us to top 4. For one, he wasn't given money in January. That suggests to me he hasn't got an ego. He didn't beg it. He knows what his role is, to come in, and he can take all the stick. He's come in to fix the club, not necessarily the playing side of things. The playing side of things is a long-term goal. And even if we have to take a back step by not getting Champions League football, what we feel we require, because we don't deserve it, to be honest. We've been winging it for a long time. As you said, Bath time, so brilliantly about coaching, Rashford and all these guys. We haven't been coaching correctly. So we have to sort of dash out everybody who's been doing poor jobs. And he's like a troubleshoot shooter. He's come into the club and he's calling people out, even your boys Fletcher, which he's calling you say it was out of order. I agree. But fair enough. But it's great. I mean, I've never really heard that opinion before, but it does make a lot of sense when you say that. And you mentioned the Russian president? Was it the Russian president from before, or whoever it was who was calling people out and that kind of thing? It needs to be done. I think that's what we needed. That's what we needed. But I do think when we're talking about identifying and doing the assessment and saying, can we go back to the thing, please, the banner? Because this is what I want to focus on. What is a modern striker, forward, winger, false nine? This is what he's talking about. My argument is, and why I agree with him, he's saying we need 2 of these players. So we need 2 of these players, because at the moment, Cavani's leaving, and we know who's coming in and out. We're going to be down to the bare bones. And when you look at City, I'm watching City kick off with Real Madrid. You look at, let me just give you some facts and figures, if you don't mind, please. I won't be too long. Man City this season, Mahrez, 23 goals. That's one player. De Bruyne, maybe a false 9, 15 goals. Sterling, 14. Foden, 13. Jesus, 13.
I love it.
Jesus. Forgive me, Father. Silva, 13. Gundogan, 8. And Grealish, 5, which is not a good thing if he's a forward. Liverpool, Salah, 30 goals. Jota for 21. Mane, 21. Firmino, 11. Minamino, 9. Origi, 6. And Diaz just come in. He's got 5. If I go back, so these are top sides. We admit that. So you've got 6 or 7 players there, maybe 8 in Man City's case. Season's not even done, but they're all going to get double figures. And we haven't seen that since the days of '99 when we had Andy Cole, 24 goals, Dwight York, 29, SHAH, 18, Sheringham, 6 goals, Beckham, 9,
Important
and
one
Scholes,
as well.
11. You understand what I'm saying? Even in the days 2008, the last time he won the Champions League, Ronaldo had 42, Rooney 18, Tevez 19, Saha got 5, 94, Berbatov the following season got 14. So you do need an abundance of so-called strikers, forwards, wingers, guys that are going to score you goals, or even false nines to score goals if you're going to be a championship winning side. And we want major trophies, and we need to have major players in these positions who get those numbers.
What a difference though on Monday from 2020 to 2022 make, where we've got like Greenwood 17, Bruno 12, Ronaldo, Rashford 22, Martial 23. And look at us now. Ronaldo, what, 19? Is it 19 goals?
And we finished third that season.
Yeah.
And we had 4 guys, including Bruno, who came in January, who all got top goals, got double figures.
Yeah, it's
so Ralph's right, in my opinion, because he's identifying it. I don't know what bath time thinks, but I think that's what we need.
All right. So, from what I'm sort of getting from all these things is that the treble team is obviously the greatest side that has walked Earth in recorded history. We then got Liverpool and Manchester City, who are it pains me to say it, but they are genuinely some of the best football teams that we've ever seen. Agreed. What this suggests to me is that the teams are set up better and they're dangerous from more areas. I think that in terms of what we're sort of saying is that if we get in more forwards, or we play forwards in different positions, we'll score more goals, and goals will be spread across the team more. I don't think that this is the case. I think that what we need better build up and better positional play in order to give these players opportunities, because as Solo has just said, we Martial, Rashford and Greenwood, I believe they outscored the front three of Liverpool.
They did.
Last season, right? And I think that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was a decent manager. I'm not saying he's a good manager, but I'm saying he's a decent manager, and he set his team up in a much more coherent way than we've seen for most of Ralph's tenure. On the Brentford game, which I'm sure we can all agree was a delightful experience, even if slightly pointless, we saw a football team set up correctly, and we saw danger from all sorts of different areas. I think that whilst we need to sort of thicken up our squad with more quality all over the place, I think that we've got the players that have demonstrably shown that they can produce these numbers and that they can produce these returns, and it's more about the positions and the tactics that we're taking up that means that we're so far behind Manchester City and Liverpool. But we're not that far behind Chelsea, Arsenal and Tottenham, by the way.
I agree with you. I agree with you for that one.
I agree.
All right, are we doing some comments?
Sorry, can I say, you're saying about the it is the system. Yeah, you're right. It is the system that needs to change, but we still need to have those players there, I think, if we are going to match Man City and Liverpool, I believe, to get those sort of goals. We're relying on one old man at the moment, and that's not fair.
I wish we were relying on 3. Yeah. I wish we still had
Matic and Mata. Exactly. Just can I ask you, sorry, before we go to the comments, I want to ask you something about half time.
Yeah.
I always like to get your view on things. So Ralph said something about Cristiano isn't a central striker, and he doesn't want to play in that position.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
I think this is what Ralph means, is that I think we're going to get on to sort of number 9s and false 10s and all that kind of stuff a little bit later. But a central striker normally has a couple of jobs. One is to provide sort of a focal point in the attack to pin down 2 centre backs to him and to operate in central areas. What we see from Ronaldo is that, I wasn't on the show for the Brentford reaction, but I don't think that I think Ronaldo mainly played as a sort of an inside forward or an inside winger in that match with Elanga as the centre forward. And what Ronaldo likes to do is he likes to drop deep, create pockets of space, and operate more in build-up play. Traditionally, we don't see that from strikers, and I think that that's what Ralph means, is that Ronaldo is just more than a goal scorer. That he's someone who participates all over the pitch, and to be honest, his work rate is it's extraordinary. Like I love Ronaldo. But yeah, I think, does that answer your question?
Yeah, just one more thing, just a little addition to that. So I'm really interested to know. We were talking before on the show about Anthony, and you said maybe doesn't. You've done a little research on him. Maybe he doesn't do the running. If he's playing wide in those sort of positions, will he do the work to sort of get back into shape and that sort of thing? And if Ronaldo's going to play in that position, will it be a harder job for him, work rate wise, to sort of track the wing back or the full back, or whatever he's expected to do under Ten Hag? Because he's done a brilliant video on him the other day.
Okay, so the way that Anthony plays is Anthony isn't a lazy player, and he's quite a hard-working player, but he's used in a certain way where his job is to provide width to the team. So he will always be out in possession. He's always out, like on the flank, trying to drag the left back or the left central midfielder towards him to open up spaces for the other team to exploit. In the block, Anthony comes in very, very tight in the same way that Salah plays, where he moves in to make a sort of a 4-3-3 block. So the reason that Anthony's numbers are lower than everyone else in the Ajax team is that he doesn't pressure the ball, and it's not because he doesn't want to; it's because he's not asked. And from what I've seen, I think that this is how Ten Hag will try and use Rashford next season. Where he'll ask him to sort of provide the width, to be the threat that pulls space between the back four, and not and basically just be a body that gets in the way. Like you know when you go to the supermarket and there's someone there and you're like, I can't believe this guy doesn't play for Italy. He's just blocking off the space that I need to get to. Like that's that's kind of what I think Anthony does. But I hope that answers your question.
Because again, with it, what you're saying there is when you look at some players, it's the unselfishness of them. I think for what I see at Man United, there's a lot of players there just want to hit that goal and want to score the goals rather than actually playing and utilizing the team. Apart from Fred, obviously, he's the only one who's the team. Then. Well, Fred's a team player. That's about it.
Yeah, give me the naughty boy list.
Well, you got Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes does want to score every opportunity he gets. You got obviously Ronaldo, but you got to feed Ronaldo no matter what happened. You got to give him the ball because the rest of the guys behind him ain't going to do too much. I think sort of Elangi, I don't know, because I watched him a couple of games where he could have probably passed the ball. One game is when him and what game was it that him and Rashford basically collided, tackled each other?
Game.
Yeah. So again, with that game as well, if you watch that game back and look at it, you'll see there's a couple of opportunity and chances that he had to give the ball to Rashi, but he didn't give it to Rashi. He basically tried to do everything himself. There's a couple of chances there where he could have given it other people. He didn't, because it's pain to say, but I'm actually, the more I do the channel, the more I'm going over games, old games as well. I don't know what's going on with me lately. I'll be watching the old games to pick up little bits and pieces from players, what players are doing or not doing. And for me, Fred need to get player of the season. That's what I care about. Sorry, Ronaldo.
So, but you're basically saying the system is broken, Errol.
Yeah.
That's basically what you're saying. There's nothing in place. Like you're saying, Elanga doesn't know what he's supposed to be doing when he gets the ball. Wan-Bissaka gets into good spaces, but doesn't know what he's supposed to link up with. Yeah, there's nothing in place. So I agree. I think we all agree that's what we have to sort out.
Yeah, we all agree Ralph's a poor coach. I think that's what we're saying.
You said that.
One thing I would like to go back to that on Solo is that you said that player, like when you were talking about like players just going for goal and being lazy, you've named, with the exception of Rashford, you've named Ronaldo, Elanga, and Bruno, who I think have some of the highest work rates of our forwards on the pitch. Like, who do you think
no.
Lazy?
So what I'm trying to get at, it's not I'm saying they're lazy. What I'm trying to say, rather than sort of, so like when you look at Man City and Liverpool, because we got to measure ourselves up to them because that's where we want to be as Man United. the unselfishness of them. It's almost like a team. It's communication. They play as a team. It's almost like they know what's going to happen next before it even happens. At Man United, all I'm seeing is we're running in each other's way. Not only running each other way, we're not picking up the pockets. We're not picking up the space. When I watch us again, Brentford, prime example. I was happy after the game. But then there's a certain element in the game where I just think they slow the play down quite dramatically rather than sort of like one-touch football, trying to get it into space and things like that. And for me, that's where I'm coming from. It's like a collective. It's like a unit. We're doing everything together, but some players are on it. Some player isn't on it at all.
Can I jump in on this? I know we can go on all day. I mean, I don't want to. I know we need to go on to the next topic, but you mentioned Bruno, for example. Now, I've been saying for a long time Bruno's cheating, and I think Bruno in his heart thinks I'm the creative force. I'm an old school number 10. I create everything. You give me the ball, and I will pop, and open things up for players. You know, and that doesn't give encouragement to anyone else to do it. For example, so I think when we saw a real good example for me is the other day when we played Brentford, Mata came on. And he knows what he can do with that, but he's a team player. I think he showed Bruno up in a big way by playing good football and making other players perform better. Sometimes, like I said the other day, he gives someone the ball, last minute when someone comes in, and knowing that they'd have to, the only thing they can do, even if you're like a low IQ player, you have to pop it off first time because this is what he set you up to do. So player 1-2 and open things up. He might be getting a press, he'll pop it off like he did with the chest to Bruno, and Bruno knew, and he spun off, and Bruno knew the only option here is to pass it back and over the top, and we scored, but it was offside, that sort of thing. So it's in that sort of intelligence and matter that displayed, I think really helps the team. When you've got one player like that who's old apparently and finished, and he can come on and really show up Bruno. Because Bruno is a mental thing, I believe. So when you're having to go at Bruno there and saying he's shooting all the time, I feel he takes that responsibility. He looks around, McTominay, Fred said, I've got to do this. I've got to be the creative guy here. But Mata showed him up with it being a senior, being a black belt. Mata said to him that game, look, bruv, this is how you really do it, and make other players look really good by building up the play and that kind of thing. Ronaldo can do it. Cavani can do it. Like the goal against Spurs, the 3-0 away, we saw that when they linked up. It was a beautiful thing to see, and I've loved what we that display by Mata the other day. That's how you play football, in my opinion.
And bath time, Armando is going to control the comments for you, and we'll just get through them to get through it. And MUFC, big up.
Here we go.
Okay. So Mark Gemini, how you doing, mate? Ralph's quote is the obvious. What we need is funds to make the signings to replace some of the 5 or 6 players that will move on in the closed season. Okay, UK Strains. I want to see if Donny can return to form at United under Eric Ten Hag. I think that's a great. I think that's something we all want to find out, and we'll examine that in later shows, I think. Here's Paddy. Regardless of the comments made by him today, the recruitment is of paramount importance. That's the crux of the matter. Okay, false 9 my backside. Get back to 2 wingers and being backed up and have a striker feeding off it. So Paddy wants old school football. And Mark has come back and said he hopes the board will give Ten Hag funds and time to build the team as if it's his own. And the fans have to realise that Ten Hag will have more bad days before good days come along. Which so a realist but slightly pessimistic view on the world there. Matthew Bassett again has said Ralph has exposed the squad for what they are. As much as you dislike Ralph, he's done what he can with what's available to him. I completely disagree. He was meant to get top 4 with a squad that can get top 4 and he didn't. But anyway, Pat Lawless, Ralph is the man and he's changing everything. He only came to assess the team, which is why I'm not judging Ralph too harshly for the past few months. Viva Ralph's revolution. Okay, Olé. Extraordinary. Like he's not come in to assess the team; he's come in to manage them. Come on, Pat. All right, UK Strains. We deserve great football back at Manchester United. We've had a terrible few years, and we need some trophies. I think we can all agree on that. And Mark again, we missed loads of chances in games as well. We've had games this season where we was missing chance after chance. I agree, Mark. I remember the Middlesbrough game in particular. And Rebel, the question is, bath time, did Ralph try and evaluate the intensity and energy and purpose buy all the squad, but they couldn't get to where he needed them, at least not in the time frame that he had. So I think what Rebel was trying to say there is, did Ralph just come in to see if they run around a bit, and could he get them to that level in the time that he had? And to be honest, yep, it's an interesting point. And then Bill Baggio, who we all love, both for his name and for the beautiful player that he was, he says he's not sure Bruno will cut it under Ten Hag. He loves him, but I don't think he can slow his game down and turn into someone who controls play, which is something that I think we've all been worried about for quite some time. And Pat Lawless is agreeing here. He fears the same. Mata proved the difference in the Brentford game.
Yeah, brilliant.
And Pat is he's becoming a surgeon here, and he's asking if anyone from the United agenda can perform a brain transplant with Bruno and Mata. And to be honest, I think Solo, you're the man for that. I think you'd be excellent at brain surgery.
Oh, hell no.
Be great. And then Manchester United FC have said that they love the channel. We love you too, Man United FC.
That's everything. Thank you so much. That's
Thank
brilliant.
you so much, guys. And then next topic now we're going to go on to OMONDI. This is for you, sir. How many forward? One.
Yeah, how many forwards are required? I think, look, I'm just going to use my fingers, like I do with my son. We've got, how many now? We've got Ronaldo scoring our goals. So we need to add to that for sure. Martial is leaving. It looks that way. I heard on the grapevine today that Seville might be making an offer for him, and I'm sure he's not wanted. It doesn't seem that way. We've got Rashford. There's a question mark about him. Is he coming or going? We're not sure. Cavani's leaving. Ronaldo, I don't know. I hope he stays.
I hope he does as well.
Like I say, Ralph is asking for 2 strikers or 2 forwards. I think we play 3 up the top, maybe. Like Liverpool, like Man City, and you have a guy in behind like Bruno as well. So there's 4 players there. You need maybe 8 as cover, quite possibly. So Bruno, he's a goal scorer. He seems to get a lot of goals. He gets forward. Maybe we need someone like, or maybe Donny can replace him. So you got Bruno and Donny. Then you got Sancho and Rashford possibly. You got Elanga as well. So and then you got 1 strike in Ronaldo. Greenwood's not on. He's out of the question now. So I do think we need maybe 2. Possibly 3, maybe Charlie McNeil could come in, or Garnacho or someone like that. But maybe 2 first-team strikers or forwards or wide men, whatever you want them to be. I put my faith into the scouting system, the new scouting system to come for them to get the players in. So I agree with Ralph. I think 2 senior first-team guys to come in to the squad, whether it's a false 9, whether it's a wide guy, but mainly a striker as well to back up Ronaldo. We need that to get the goals back, because as I showed earlier, championship winning sides, major trophy winning sides, they seem to have like 5-6 players that score over 10 goals, 15, 20 goals a season, and that's necessary. So for me, I think we need 2 players in that striking position. And sorry, just to say again, obviously on the Man United agenda, we have these discussions quite a bit. And prior to this, I would say, no, we need a centre midfielder, we need a centre back. But I do think forward is 2 of them are required now, and that could change the balance now. What we and who's going to remain at the club.
Bath time.
All right. So I think like that we reckon that Ten Hag is going to play something similar to a sort of 4-3-3. I'm not a huge fan of talking about formations, as I think they're archaic and they don't really sort of like illustrate what's going on a football pitch anymore. But there will be 3 to 4 players in the forward line when we're in possession. We have 1 central striker, which is Ronaldo, regardless of what Ralph says. Like that's our main striker. So we need another one there. We're crying out for someone on the right-hand side. We're okay on the left-hand side. So I think that, assuming no one is coming through from the youth, like Ahmad, I don't think so. Palestri, I don't think so. Like, we're going to have to evaluate, like, on the youth team in pre-season what they're like. Bill's just brought up Facundo Palestri. He's had a bad time at Alaves and hasn't really performed. Very similar to what's going on with Ahmad up in Scotland. So maybe they need another season, another 2 seasons, but they're not ready for Premiership elite football yet. So I think that we definitely need someone to take the weight off Ronaldo, because I think we can all agree we don't we don't want to see Cristiano listening to the UEFA Cup anthem. We want someone else out there, and we definitely need someone out on the right. I still personally think that we should be looking in different areas for our quality at the moment. But Solo, what do you reckon?
Forward line, for me, I reckon some people saying 2, some people saying 3. I still believe we need 3. And what I mean by 3 we need is, I think we need someone who is no one that we know of. Like, I'm not looking for the Harry Kane of the world. I'm looking for Haaland of the world. I'm not looking for those sort of guys. We discover players like Cristiano Ronaldo from nowhere, Anelka from nowhere. I want us to go and find our own sort of gems. I know you're saying about Palestri, but there's rumors apparently in reports that Ten Hag actually wants to work with him to see what he's got over the preseason. So again, that could be something to throw in there, because obviously you got Ronaldo, you've got him, but also Amanda brought up earlier regarding there's rumors regarding Martial, a possibility might go. I actually think next season you could have Martial, you could have Rashford, and you can have Ronaldo. I honestly believe that could be next season. Or again, you mix it up. Jadon Sancho is there, and also you got Elanga there as well. So for me, do we really and truly need to go out? I think personally, what Rangnick Ten Hag should be doing is coming in pre-season while and finding out what the chemistry and the balance we've got already. Because I think, like I said, Martial could seem or deem lazy, but there's a player underneath there. I know people in the comment might say he's rubbish or whatever, but I think there's a player there. I think Rashford, it was a top goal scorer last season with 22 goals, and he got critique, and a lot of people criticize him this season. He's got off form. And then Jadon Sancho came into form a little bit as well. So it could work where we could have all of these guys next season, but we just need to, for me, is definitely has to be the midfield area we need to work on. That's for me anyway. I think we've got enough there because, again, Ralph Rangnick as well, this season, we created probably more chances than Liverpool and Man City. That's what the stats were saying, but we don't have anyone to finish it off, true. But if we had the likes of Martial, could it be a different story? Just putting out there.
I completely disagree with that, Solo. We've got the greatest goal scorer in world football history. No one we get in is going to be better than Ronaldo at scoring goals. For me, if the question is, are the forwards now a priority? For me, no. I think that what we should be doing is starting at the back and the midfield and building a consistent base that can create chances for our forward players. Now, I understand that Liverpool did it the other way round, where it wasn't until they sorted out their goalkeeper and their centre-back with Alisson and Van Dijk that they were able to go forward. However, they also had Trent Alexander-Arnold, who I know a lot of people don't like him defensively. He is the future of creative sort of defenders. They're well ahead of the curve on that. But what Pep did is Pep straight away got rid of Joe Hart. He brought in Claudio Bravo, and then he got Edison in. And then he spent, I don't know what the figures are. Is it 200 million on fullbacks?
200 million on centre-backs.
And they're always buying, central defenders for 50 million because he understands that you need to start at the back in order to be able to control a game of football. You have your midfield and your defenders giving security to transitions and also recycling the ball. I personally think for a long time United have tried to go on for Cavani, Falcao, Di Maria, all these players to sort of just outscore everyone else. And now what I want is for us to build a spine that can control games and create chances, and we'll see how good Rashford is, we'll see how good Sancho is, we'll see how good Martial is, but we can then go and get those top players when we can give them a platform to perform on. So I still think defence and midfield should be where 90% of the funds go. And I also agree with you about evaluating the youth on tour. It's something every manager does. We get them in for the pre-season. We see who's got the physical levels and the mental levels. And then we very slowly bleed them in, like Elanga, like Greenwood, and further back, the Nevilles and the Beckhams. So that's how I feel about it.
Bath time. Amonde's going to be happy with you there because you spoke about controlling the game.
Yeah.
No, but you know what? I agree with Bath time about how you build a side. You are supposed to build from the back first and get that structure right. So he's right there. But the only thing I would say about that is that if players aren't available, look what Klopp's done. He's brought in players, the right players at the right time, I feel. And there was a time he had Sarko. He let him go because he wasn't suitable. He had problems with him. And at the time, I felt they needed him. I think that's suicide. Why would you actually get rid of a guy, even if you're not getting on with him? Just let him play it out, but you let him go. And obviously they had defensive issues, but he didn't mind that because he wanted to get the right player in at the right time. He'd done that with Virgil van Dijk. He waited on him and got him at the right time. I think if we get so we're saying priority, I do agree there's many positions. That's how bad we are. There's many positions that we need to prioritize right now. But I do.
Apart from goalkeeper.
But we are short up front as well. And I don't know how it's going to work because before, didn't we have a show where we said maybe 3 new signings, 4 new signings? It could be increased now. Judging by when we look really sort of assess it now and look at the squad, we're kind of weak in a lot of areas. So for me, forwards would be a priority. I would be getting a forward first before anything else. We do have defenders. We do have who buys defenders these days?
On Monday, I'm really sorry we don't have defense.
I think we do. The reason I say we have a defense is about the unit, the shape. If we've got an organised defence, no matter how slow you are, look at the guy at West Ham. I keep referring to him, and he's in the semi-final of the Europa League, and he's playing. What's his name? Not Craig.
Dawson.
Dawson. This guy's playing at a top level now, playing high up in the league. He's playing in the Europa League semi-finals, and you wouldn't dream that he would be like a top player. Do you understand what I'm saying? But he plays in a good organised shape that Moyes set up for him. So he's organised. And I think that's the most important thing. So even though we might not have the best players in defence, there's not much between. Obviously, Virgil van Dijk and Trent, who Bath time mentions, they're really elite players. And they're once in a generation. But if you get defenders physically strong, can know how to keep a shape and know how to be organised and stand up and don't dive in and all that kind of, then you're halfway to having a good unit. And that's the main thing. I think what we both agree on is that having a good unit at the back is the priority. So for me, I would prioritize a striker or a forward and then get the right player at the right time, however long that takes.
You got any names for us, Amondo?
What, for forwards?
Yeah, for these positions that you want to strengthen.
Yeah. There's a few players. So I think if you see what Diaz has come in, he's come in and like a duck to water. He's fitted in. So you have to get someone who's experienced. I know there's people talking about Nkunku or whatever for Red Bull because he's got good stats this year, but I don't think he's suitable for Manchester United. I don't think he's the right player just yet. I think the Nunes guy from Benfica, works hard. He works really hard. He's got that sort of focused attitude. He's come maybe from as a pauper, and he's got that hunger in him. He scores goals, and I've watched him now against Liverpool because I couldn't really assess him in the Portuguese league, playing for the best team all the time, and Benfica. It's really hard to assess when you watch games like that. But when you see him up against Champions League and how much trouble he causes, like Liverpool defense, I thought, okay, this guy's got a bit about him and a bit of character as well. So. And that's someone I've seen where I've said, okay, I wouldn't mind him. The little guy Martinez from Inter Milan, he's similar as well. He works hard. He's a busybody. He's got something to prove. He's at that age now where maybe he needs to step up and come. I don't know about his character, but I've seen him play for Inter Milan. And even though he's not, I wouldn't say he's top draw, but I think if he's available, that's someone we should also consider. In regards to defence and other positions, I think, like I said earlier, you should have to get players that are willing to learn the system. You look at Timber. Timber, to me, if he was English, he'd be in Division 2. I guarantee it. Because but the difference is he understands, he's got IQ, he's come through the Ajax Academy, and he knows how to play football, and he's organised. He's always in shape. And when you're in shape, you're okay. It's look at our defence right now, this last couple of seasons. We've been out of shape so many times, good players, and it's so difficult to get back in. So I think it's about the unit first, the defensive line. That's why I would focus on these bigger players first, get them in, and then slowly organise and wait for the right player to come along in defence or midfield positions, which will be beneficial for the club.
For me, I'm just looking at the bench. It's only for me right now is Nkunku. I keep saying Nkunku, and the guy from Marseille as well that we're thinking about. He can play centre back. What?
No. Kamara.
Diarra?
Kamara.
No?
Kamara.
Yeah. Also, you got Sevilla. We've been linked with him for ages, but I don't know too much about him, so I'm not going to go in too much about him. It's a name that's been going around. There's a lot of people sitting there, United fans are talking about bringing him as well. The Sevilla centre-back.
All right. The French guy.
Yeah, French one.
Is it Koundé?
Koundé,
Yeah,
Koundé,
yeah.
George Koundé. Yeah, him. Jules Koundé, should I say. But for me right now, being sort of not thinking out, I'm thinking outside the box, and rather than going out and spending certain money on players, I honestly think I'm going to go back to it. United should now just utilize who we've got right now, go through a pre-season with them, and then if it's not working, get a centre back and probably a midfield player right now. And that's all I think we need. The priority we need right now is another centre back and a midfield player.
Well, we need Solo. We need a striker. That's like look. The priority signing actually is a striker because we're so weak in that central area. It's not the thing we need the most for the team, but we need that cover because if Ronaldo gets injured or goes off to wherever, we don't have anyone who's good enough in that position to get us into top four. Secondly, to say let's get the lads in for pre-season, see how it goes, and then if it goes badly, we'll get some other players in. To me, I don't want to be rude, but it's delusional because you need pre-season is where you train players on the system. We have a new manager coming in, right? And he's going to change everything in terms of where people are when the ball is over here. It's going to be a whole new school experience for the boys. And it's best to get players in at that time so that everyone can learn together. Me, myself, I know everyone's going to shout at me now. I like Tyrone Mings. And I think that he would be, right, a Monday. Don't look at you rearing up like an angry bear. Ready to attack me.
You've watched the channel, you know how I feel about Mings. Come on, man.
I'll tell you why I like Mings. I know that Paddy hates Mings as well. I like Mings because, for a start, he's left-footed, and I fetishize people with the left foot. I think we all do, like Matic and Mata and that lot. To me, he's England's next best centre-back. I think he's better than John Stones. He's physical, he's aggressive, and I was extremely impressed with him. Do you remember we had that weird week where we played Aston Villa 3 times or something? Yeah. We were 2-0 up in one match, and it was Tyrone Mings that brought the game back by his passing and his carries up the pitch. He knows the league.
That's right.
And I think that, not as a starter, I'm not saying he's better than Maguire or Varane, but I think that in order to give a bit more stability to the squad, because if you look at, I love Phil Jones, we always believe in Phil Jones, but Bailly and Jones are never used. Tyrone Mings would be. And I think that having a left foot in defence is something that is very sort of Dutch. They like a balance of left and right foots for passing angles. I think that he would be a great signing. I'd love Rice. I think he's too expensive. I don't know if I can bring up Harry Winks in this audience, but I'm a big fan of Harry Winks.
The comments will go off. Go on, say it.
Yeah, I know. I like it. But I think that when we get the striker in, we need a right-sided forward or a right-sided attacker, preferably one with a left foot. I'm thinking Jared Bowen, Rafinha, Anthony, a player like that. Yeah, I know, Matthew. I do like Tyrone Mings. We need more cover in midfield, and I would love us to boot out De Gea. I'd love us to boot out our fullbacks and get better ones in. But we're in a rebuild, and I don't think that we can get rid of them at the moment. Yeah, I know everyone hates.
You know what's funny about time?
Bloody hell, yes.
You know what's funny? You like Tyrone Mings, I like Mings. You like Fred, I like Fred.
Yeah, I know. We're the brains trust, Solo. We're the ones cooking up the ideas. Yeah, look, I want to improve the squad.
And the thing is, Fred has come good. Fred has come good. He's always backed Fred, and he's actually come good for once. So maybe there's something in what you guys are saying.
I know, I've always backed Mata.
Even though it sounds ridiculous right now. Can I just say about Tyrone Mings why I don't like him? He was a left back at Ipswich and Bournemouth playing championship football. He's a big unit. Yeah, he's quick, he's fast, he can do all that. But what he's done is winging it. All he does is point, give it all out like he's leading and doing something. He ain't doing anything. He's got mistake in him. Everyone always says that. Every game I watch him, there's something I think, oh God, dodgy. Step up a level. He's going to get eaten alive. That's what I always think. So I think maybe we're struggling. If you're saying for England centre backs, he's the next one in line, I think that shows him. Connor Cody, guys like that, we're really struggling at centre back at the moment for England.
Well, Harry Maguire's still playing centre back, so we are struggling.
Well, there you go. He's been playing poor, rightly so. And I do remember when Zlatan stamped on his head because he tried it with Zlatan. Zlatan just said, "Get down, boy," and gave him a stamp right on his head to say, don't try it around here. This is elite level football, and that's what would happen to him. In reality, if he stepped up at sort of European level, I believe, and if you play him against other teams, not Andorra and San Marino, he would struggle. So I'm not a big fan of Tyrone Mings, but I do see, physical, he can run fast and thing. But I think watch him. He always does all this point and pin like he's a big leader out there. And
this is why you don't like him.
I just think he's winging it. He's winging it. He's not. He's
Harry Maguire don't point or anything.
Like Tony Adams. I didn't like Tony Adams for the same thing.
Tony Adams.
Not a good player, in my opinion.
Have you had your heart broken by an air hostess or something, and you don't like them pointing out the exits?
Legend, mate. Absolute legend. What a player.
This is madness. I reckon, right, that Tyrone Mings would be better in the Premier League than Timber.
Okay. Yeah, probably. Quite possibly.
Oh,
but you get enough traction out here with your.
Yeah, come on, give me some comments. Yeah, I can answer these. We can educate people.
Okay, so going back, because we're talking about Martial and saying he's quality, and there's a few things about Martial here. Go on.
When he wants to turn up, Mark, we need consistency. I'm so sorry, I don't know what that's in reference
Martial.
to. Probably
Martial.
Yeah, okay, I think that's fair. Nkunku offers versatility in the forward positions on Monday. And then Pat Lawless, Martial coming back and taking his finger out is a pipe dream for all of us Reds. I like Martial. I think there's a player there.
Mr. B will be happy
button.
As well.
Why?
He loves Martial.
Oh, good. Okay. From the Premier League, Rafinha, Tony, Bowen. I'd take Rafinha and Bowen. I wouldn't want Tony anywhere near our club. He's too disrespectful as a footballer. Yeah, okay, here it starts. Tyrone Mings, really, and then 5 emojis. Mings, yep. For Mings and Maguire, M&M. Yep. Here we go. What am I hearing? You're hearing that I rate Tyrone Mings. I want to improve the squad, not weaken it. Come on, keep it coming, lads. No Mings. God, I am on meth. Yeah, you're completely right. Don't mention Mings. Mr. B will start singing again. Sod it. If Bath Time wants Mings, we might as well get Andy Carroll as striker. I'll tell you something about Andy Carroll. How do you think international teams would have coped if the England front line had been Andy Carroll and Theo Walcott? I don't know how you set up a defence to deal with that. But anyway,
we used to have Lineker and Haitley, didn't we?
Yeah.
Similar thing, yeah.
Okay, Mings, he shouldn't be anywhere near Man United. Trust me, Mings will be on the list. Mings might... Right, do you lads reckon Pau Torres would be better in the Premier League than Tyrone Mings? Okay, carry on with this.
Give it all on in the comment, guys, with what Bath Time just said. Give it a 1 if it's yes or 2 for no.
This is just like...
It's clear, Dane. Everyone's
it is clear. I mean, I've never been shouted at so much by a chat before. Mings is like a 1.2 Corsa with a Mercedes AMG body kit. Okay? I don't really know what that means. Mings, my ears are bleeding. If he's in a Shakespearean
enough
play.
abuse for you today.
It's all right. I like abuse. Everyone's entitled to opinion.
Yeah, 15 in the chat, guys. Hit that like, and if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. Guys, as Armando says, any other business, guys. So we're talking about any other business. I don't have any other business apart from if you're watching for the first time, hit that subscribe. And if you are in the chat and you're new to the channel, hit the like button. Also, remember, guys, after the show, you can, Bill, I know you'll be there first thing after the show, putting your comments in.
He's waiting like this.
Yeah, he's waiting. He's probably done it already. He started already. I don't even know if he started the chat already. But I know Bill, guys, if you're on a conversation with Bill on the YouTube channel afterwards, you can. Bill would like to have a conversation on it. Guys, any other businesses from you guys?
Yeah, I just got a couple of things. Firstly, I was really interested in Roy Keane's 1 to 11 players in the Premiership for Man United. That was quite interesting. That caused a bit of a stir, especially Pallister over Rio Ferdinand. But he gave a good case. I think I remember Pallister was very good. He was the quickest
He
player
was
in the team.
Paluca, innit? Paluca, man.
He was he was the quickest, quicker than Giggs and all these other guys. But it's really difficult. I mean, Ince and Robson in the midfield, he put. It just caused a lot of discussion and the strikers as well. But I really enjoyed that, and not just looking at the team, the way he described it, because he did give a detailed assessment, I believe.
I'm on that. I'm sorry, I wouldn't put Ince anywhere near United.
Ince was
team.
brilliant at one point.
He was good.
Like 2, 3, 4.
When he left Inter Milan and went to Liverpool and scored that goal and celebrated like the way he did, I'm sorry, unforgiven.
Would you put Schmeichel in? Would you put Schmeichel in?
Schmeichel definitely go in because I'll put. I know about Man City. I know about the Man City. I know about it.
You can't have these dual standards, Solo. Consistency, like Fred. Fred is consistent. Take Schmeichel out if you're not going to have Ince in.
Oh, you're killing me now, softly.
I'm killing you with your own logic.
My final other business is bath time. I love you, Guy. You really give good discussion, and I look forward to it. I really look forward to it when you come on the show. So more bath time, please, guys.
Cheers, mate. I'd just like to say that although me and Monday, we can't see eye to eye on anything, really. We actually do. We like each other a lot, and we do agree on the main principles of football about shape and position and stuff like that. And it's always a pleasure to talk with Monday. We're never arguing for sort of like effect or views or whatever. He does actually believe the nonsense he comes out with.
Slap.
But to go back to this United thing, like you said that Keane gave like a detailed analysis of pretty much everyone. Yeah. Did you see the one person that he didn't even mention in the detailed analysis? It was Luke Shaw. They had Luke Shaw in the list of like fullbacks for the all-time 11. And Keane didn't even give him the credit of mentioning his name, which I thought was quite interesting. Because
on the list of
because obviously we all know that Roy Keane would marry Dennis Irwin if he could. He loves him so much.
Dennis Irwin was quality though.
Yeah, and he loves He loves Neville as well. But I was a bit surprised that Cantona and Scholes weren't in. I think I imagine Rio was tremendously annoying to Roy Keane. Do you remember that Mercked program he used to do where he nearly gave like David Beckham a panic attack once?
Like pranks. It's like a prank show, isn't it? Yeah.
Can you imagine like Roy Keane having to deal with getting murked in the changing room by a 24-year-old Rio?
Was that the name of the show, Mercked?
Yeah, Mercked.
Yeah, something like that. You've been murked.
Yeah. Really
because they did it to Gary Neville, didn't they? I think they did it to Gary Neville, and they got his car, and they did it to
because Gary Neville's got an edge to him. Like I don't know if you remember that phone call where some 14-year-olds rang him up, and Gary was like, "If you don't tell me where you got this number from, I'm gonna come to your school." And the one that they did on Gary Neville is someone crashed his car, is pretended to crash into his car in a car park. And like Neville went absolutely mental, and he saw Rio came in and went, "Oh, you've been murked," and Neville didn't stop. He just kept going on at this kid. Look it up on YouTube, lads.
I'm going to straight after.
I've seen it.
Straight after I watch your YouTube video about Paul Pogba and why he should play right back.
Yeah, Paul Pogba should be a right back.
I'll be watching it too. But guys, 13 in the chat, guys, and only 21 likes. Come on, really? Hit that like button. And then, guys, listen, we are going to be back tomorrow night. I believe on Monday you'll be hosting tomorrow, I believe.
If you want.
Yeah, I won't be around tomorrow. I'm studying tomorrow. But, guys, listen, thank you all for watching, liking, sharing, and subscribing. Bath time. I know you don't like doing this, but we have to do it to you, sir, because you have got something that these guys need to go and watch as well.
I have a YouTube channel called Bath Time with Vaughan, and it is incredibly boring. I cannot stress this enough. It's not fun and it's not interesting. But I do a series of like single man podcasts where I talk about why I don't like Ralph Rangnick, or like my views on the 1875 canal dispute between Liverpool and Manchester. And this week I have a video about why I think that Paul Pogba should play right back for Manchester United. So if you want to really get stuck in on me and my Tyrone Mings like views, you can go and leave comments and whatever. But as I'm not a big fan of self-promotion of promotion. So cheers, Solo.
That's okay. That's okay. And you can always catch Bath Time here. He's around now. He's one of us now. The bad smell of the channel.
Cheers.
Yeah, that's right. You're welcome, sir. You're welcome. Absolutely lovely having you on with your knowledge and everything like that as well. And guys, we are going to come back tomorrow at 8:30, and then we have tomorrow's Thursday, so we'll be back tomorrow. And then I think we got the preview show on Friday night.
Yeah, Brighton away.
I think it is. I can't remember. The season's finished for me anyway, so I don't even know who we're playing. But guys, from us at the Man Agenda, we'd like to thank everyone in the comments for liking, sharing, and subscribing. We are on the road to 2K subscriber. We're very close to 1.6K at the moment. So guys, just remember, keep smashing that, okay? From us, Bath Time on Monday. Solo, good night.